Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the Patreons. Make sure to subscribe and let's get into it, guys. So today I wanted to talk about some options of some aircraft that we might actually see in the upcoming patch, the next patch, right? Aircraft that, in my opinion, have a very high chance of being added. I already did some lists with it, but since we got the Fox 3s added, not added, right? Confirmed that they will be added in the next patch. I decided to make one of these basically focusing on the Fox 3s, right? So what I think it is pretty likely that we will see happening is that the patch will be like 100% focused on the Fox 3s being added, right? Since it is going to be kind of a game-changing thing, especially because after that, I don't think top tier will be ever the same. After that, we can have so many different types of aircraft being added. It opens up, literally, it opens up the gap for even 5th generation jets to be added in the far future, right? So, of course, with the Raiders and stuff being added, but still, you know what I mean, right? So, it is something that really will change the game forever. And of course, there are some gaps that need filling in the game, and I think with those gaps, we can actually kind of take a look and wait and expect that it will be kind of like, since the focus will probably be around the Fox 3s, we can kind of hope that or expect that these aircraft will be kind of focused on that as well, right? So let's get into it. I think the first one is a very obvious one, the F4F with the ICE package. Remember, this aircraft is basically the F4F late that we have in the game right now, but with two main differences. The main one would be that it changes the Raider, the old APQ, to the new APG-65. The Raider that is, by the way, already in the game in the Aviate B Plus in Italy, meaning that it is the Raider of the F-18A, right? The second change, of course, is that with the addition of this Raider, it can actually fire Fox 3 missiles. And remember, Germany is one of the only countries that really cannot have anything right now added just as a missile. So they will need a new aircraft to actually use these missiles. And since I'm pretty sure this next patch, will be focusing on the Fox 3s, I'm pretty sure that the ICE is highly likely to be added, right? The second one would be something for a country that also kind of lacks in that regard, and it is Japan. So Japan can have two options: the F-15J with upgrades, you know, so we would have an F-15J that would be the original one in the game right now with just Sparrows in the AM3, and then in the future with this patch we might see something like the F-15J with upgrades to the Raider to be able to use the AM4 Raider missile, right? So that would be the most likely option, I think. But there is also another one, which would be the F2 as well. Mitsubishi F2 would be, I think, a little bit more unlikely, but still can happen. Unlikely, why? Because it is, I think, a little bit of a step up from the aircraft that we have right now because of the AESA and other things, and it would be more on par maybe with the Eurofighter and the Rafale in the future. I still think that the Rafale and the Eurofighter are better, of course, but I still think that the F2 is a step up from the aircraft that we have in the game with technology and stuff. So we might see the F-15J being the aircraft that they add. And remember, yeah, indeed, we could see the F-15J in the game right now already receiving that, but I think it's kind of unlikely. I think the jump between the Kai and the F-15J with AM4s is a little bit unlikely as well. I would expect them to actually add another F-15 with these new missiles, but I don't know, maybe I'm going to be wrong. So let's see what is added for Japan. I still think that something needs to be added to be properly implemented with the Fox 3s. Another country that kind of needs something as well would be China. China is a little bit less than Germany and Japan, but still, the J8F is a pretty alright aircraft, and with the PL-12 it will be pretty alright. I think it will be an aircraft that will be good. It's not going to be a bad aircraft. But the thing is that it's still very much a third generation, right? So although, yes, the F4F ICE would be only that, but since the Eurofighter was kind of denied, that's kind of the only option for Germany. For China, it's not the only option. You know, the J8F using those Fox 3s is not really the only option. I think we have two things over here. One of them would be to add the J10. It's a very well-known aircraft, very good aircraft. It is going to be similar to something like a MiG-29 in the mission type that the aircraft produces. So it's kind of a light fighter, like interceptor, point defense kind of fighter, you know. And it can even use the semi-active missiles like the Aspite, the PL-11, right? It can use the PL-8, which is the Python 3 as well. So it would be basically kind of similar to something like a MiG-29. Very advanced radar, very light, very nimble, and being able to carry not a lot of missiles, like 6 missiles in its initial variants, but already, if I'm not mistaken, able to carry the Fox 3s. Which would be the main addition for it. Of course, we have the second option, which would be just to add the AIM-120 to the MLU, but honestly, I don't see that happening. I don't know why, I feel like the BR difference is too much. Maybe in the future, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I have a feeling that they might add another aircraft for China just for the sake of adding the Fox 3s, right? And then the last one would be something that I think it's less likely than the other ones that I talked about, but it still can happen. Of course, the J11A, the Su-27, the F-15 for all the nations, basically receiving new variants. So the F-15C coming for Japan, for Israel and the US, and the Su-27 maybe SM or something coming to the Russians, and then the J11A or something like that for the Chinese. It is more unlikely in my opinion, but it still can happen with the priority of these aircraft to have, of course, the Fox 3s being added to those aircraft, right? Because the versions that we have of the F-15A, the BAS, the J11 that we have, and the Su-27S that we have in the game, they all cannot take the Fox 3 missiles, right? So I wouldn't doubt to see something like that just for the sake of adding a new aircraft, right? And then, of course, the Su-24, I think it's likely that we will see. Not really, you know, up with the other ones, but still I think it is likely that eventually we will see this aircraft. Why not in the next patch, right? I still think that Russia will probably not get anything because he already has the SMT and it's fine with the Su-27. So having, instead of a new Fox 3 launcher, have just a fighter bomber like that would be cool. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, and I see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.